All right, so episode 3 to trading, and we're gonna really talk about growth. So really like the growth when it comes to trading, and I know this really becomes very, 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 very crucial because I feel like a lot of people really lack this, especially if they want to turn things to a whole next level. And I could probably talk about like my experience about growth because it became very, very crucial, like when first learning and sacrificing all the late nights, avoiding the friends, not satisfying with the results of just getting started and getting trading, right? And people forget that you need to start off small to get into the bigger aspect of it, right? And I know for me, starting off, like it was just, I remember like it was yesterday when I first got involved, like what I first made was $122.75. Remember it like it was yesterday. When I first made that, I was like, damn, bro, this is crazy. Like, like I really made this. So, and then now I was getting used to using the proper lot sizes, right? And I think I ended that week with $1,000, right? So, and then once I made to $1,000, I was feeling really, really, really comfortable. Like I feel like, all right, so you gotta to like feel comfortable about adjusting to now that your account size is bigger, right? Because it all plays in your mind. So you're like, all right, perfect. So like, what am I risking now? Like, should I be using a bigger lot size to get a bigger return? So then your mind starts to take you elsewhere. So and I feel like for people, just stick to having a plan so then you could look back and reflect on it and be like, all right, man, I made some major growth from last week. So I made almost about like $500. Now this week I made $1,000. What am I challenging myself for my next goal for the following week? So if you're documenting your journey, you start reflecting and building confidence at the same time.
Right, yeah, and I mean, you could talk about growth in the sense of literally watching your account grow.
Yeah.
But then you can also talk about the emotional side of it because it's kind of like learning how to ride a bike. You start with training wheels.
Yeah.
You start with your demo account. You take the training wheels off. You go into live. You use small lot sizes. You're only riding right in front of your house. Right? So everything has a lot of different ways that there can be growth. And I think I've been taught with Forex and going through the markets, blowing accounts, making money on the accounts, right? And seeing those emotional changes that it makes me more accountable. I mean, you ask anybody my personality or my responsibility level or even accountability level, they were strong over a year ago. I mean, being 35, I've grown overall, but the past year and almost 2 months now, I've grown exponentially, and I feel it.
Yeah.
So, I've seen my account grow. I feel emotionally I've grown. So, I kind of feel like an overall better person. So I don't look at this as just, well, I'm looking at the charts, I'm waking up to trade. Nah, I look at this as something that I just love to do, period. And when you love to do something, it kind of molds you into who you're supposed to be.
Yeah, that's true. Because like when you're seeing that growth and then you begin to admire it, you're like, man, like I became way of a better person than I was, just 2 weeks ago, and seeing what doors are opening in your mind that if I really apply this, that a lot of changes could actually happen within my life. You're beginning to start to change your financial situation. That's opening doors for other opportunities that you truly want to do in life, right? So, you're beginning to grow, and then you're using this vehicle to do a lot of unlimited things. So there's really like no cap to your growth if you're documenting everything, and then you could actually look back from a year from now, and then you're like, wow, like this been an amazing transition, and the most important thing is that I actually documented from all of the changes. Like, you know, you're growing from not from your mindset, but like physically. You know, you start looking or approaching things very differently, and then you start to grow from, you know, spiritually. You know, you probably start going to church, start, you know, taking things from what other people are trying to assume or even, you know, calculate in their minds, and having a different viewpoint. So then when that whole circle of growth is completed, you're like, wow, I'm a whole new person. And I could actually go back to when, just even when I was just trading and when I was learning and it was just fun. You know, when it becomes fun, you become a whole new person. When you start changing people's lives, you become like a whole new person. You know, when you start making the results that people dream of having, you know, it changes everything, you know? And it just feels like, wow, this is like, it's really dope to have that from last year to where I was, you know, struggling, you know, helping my mom pay out bills, you know, first without me taking care of myself, you know, because I had priorities at the time. Now I could just look back and just like, all right, if my mom's in a situation, yeah, there's no problem. You know, because I worked hard and made changes and grew from it.
Right. And not just that, but you respect the market a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think that's also, that comes along with the time and energy and everything put into it. So you start off, I remember the first day I started trading, even on demo.
Yeah.
Our very first interaction.
Yeah.
I DM'd you on Telegram talking about, oh, that was a fire crypto call.
Yeah.
And it was, I want to say it was Ripple, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I had a 2.0 on that thing. Bro. Like, who does that, you know? But I came into this thing like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And like, it was up like $2,500 in like 10 seconds, right? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, okay. This is what the market's going to do.
Yeah.
I'm coming into this. I'm going to go conquer this thing. I'm going to be bigger than the market.
Yeah.
Ooh, that thing puts you into a perspective where you're like, slow down, buddy. Slow down. You see that drawdown and that emotion that you have with inside, that you tend to build off of that.
And yeah, it becomes like a natural high.
Exactly.
Like, you know, you get the thrill of it, and especially when you see it just turn flashing blue and that fast, and you know, you're thinking about all the millions of reasons what you could be doing with that. Like, you know, paying your bills, like all that stuff is popping into your mind.
Yep.
You're like, damn, like this is really happening.
But then when it turns back red and it blows, right? You have to take a step back and like, okay, the market's bigger than me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
starting from day one to where I'm at now, I know for a fact I'm never going to be bigger than the market.
Yeah.
Ever. The market will always
Yeah,
conquer me
and that's what
if I'm caught slipping.
and that's like the problem with a lot of people. They get so excited, you know, and they feel like, you know, not everyone could rob the government.
Right.
24/7. You know, you are going to take those L's and you are going to reflect from it. So if you're not growing and looking back on that, then you're going back into the market like, all right, I'm not prepared. I don't have my confirmations. I'm not looking into, you know, into this too deeply than I thought. Then you start second guessing yourself, and then you wasted all that time that could have been focused elsewhere on growth, you know? So and then that becomes, you don't want to have it as a repetitive thing.
Right.
That, you know, it's just going back and forth and you're not learning from it and you're not growing from it. So like you just start doubting yourself, all right, what is the problem? Oh, I need to switch this up. And then you know where the problem is, but you refuse to go through it and face it head on.
Right. And what's the saying go? Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Yeah.
So it's baby steps. You're not going to ever come into a market and be a master at it overnight.
Yeah.
You're going to take, like you said, you're going to take losses and you learn from those losses and you grow from it and you just become stronger and stronger and stronger. It would be like me going into the gym right now. I'm not going to look like you in one night. You know what I mean? Like,
man, if we all had it that easy, then
man,
there'll be a lot of multiple Kens, and I'm not talking in third person.
Right.
That's not my thing. So,
So I mean, it takes time, it takes the work, and you tend to learn from that, and overall grow, like in the sense of like just the mentality portion, the mental portion. Like you have a new respect, even like I have a new respect for myself. Like I never thought that I would even get this far, you know. Like I'm sitting here watching these charts, and I'm like, I love this, and I'm still in the game. You know, I could have given up after the first couple weeks, like nah, forget this, and then I would have never grown myself, and I still would have been you know, a year less immature. Yeah. So, or a year more. So either way, like I kind of tend to think that this whole process is just like you said, a bigger picture than just trading. Trading is just a vehicle to get where you want to get to. So, you know, it's like going, like I said, from that bike, and then finally at some point you're going to end up, you know, in a Ferrari or something, if that's what you want to do. I mean, it's up to you, whatever you do with your money, but in that sense, it's like just that growth process is crazy, and then you can look back on it, and it's something to be proud of. Yeah, you know, like I look at myself in the mirror every day, and I'm like, yo, you're different today than you were yesterday, and I can thank this process for a lot of that.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people forget too. It's just that, you know, it's the little things. You know, if we, you know, as humans, like I would like to say, well, I hope everyone is human. Like to focus on like the little things, you know, you actually will get a lot of things done, you know, and going through the process, you know, everything in life that you're going to do, like if it's like going to the gym, you know, becoming the best trader, you know, want to be the best athlete, want to be the best rapper, you have to go through some type of a process for you to grow from it. Right. And then when you grow from it, you know, and then you could actually see like what you've accomplished and reflect back on it. You know, you want to take a break, you know, make sure that you're not losing yourself within that process of that growth, right? Because that journey that you want to excel, you want to repel back to it and be like, man, I was that guy. Like, you know, and I was looking at a lot of documentaries too, I think especially with like Gary Payton, and his interview was very interesting. Like he reflected back to his son, and was like, yeah, I was never the type of person that watched like my NBA highlights. Like I would see myself and be like, oh damn, that was me. Like he wouldn't sound like so excited about it, and that really hit me too, because like, you know, like he was almost like 11-time NBA All-Star. Like he was really good. Like, you know, and there are that kinds of people that, you know, they don't want to reflect back on their growth, like, or what they accomplished or their accolades, you know. So there are going to be those kind of people that just, you know, go through the motions of life and then, you know, accept what they accepted and then just keep it moving. So so there are those kind of people out there that choose to not want to, you know, embrace what they accomplished or their growth and then just call it as it is.
Right. It's kind of like, it's interesting. I was watching this clip. If I can relate it to an athlete sticking in the NBA, is kind of like Dwight Howard. Yeah. Did you see his interview that he did the other day?
Yeah, I saw a little bit. I think before I was heading into the gym, like I saw like just, you know, snippets of it. But I definitely want to hear your intake on it.
He was talking about how he and Kobe didn't get along, right? Yeah. And he actually reflected on how immature he used to be. Yeah. Well, he got to a point where he actually, there was a game when he was with the Rockets, and they were playing the Lakers, and Kobe looked across the court and called him soft. He yelled at him. He's like, "You're soft," right? And so from that point on, Dwight actually he said, I hated Kobe. Yeah. But he grew from that, and he actually, on that show, he thanked Kobe because he was like, you know what? I was soft. You know, so sometimes you also got to listen to the people around you, the ones that you trust, of course, but it might just be some random person, and it might just be like, hey, you know, change something, you know what I mean? Yeah. And something might come across the way, you know, and so somebody that he truly hated, he ended up having a different perspective on. Yeah. Because all he did is just call him out on, you know, him being soft, you know, but the point of that was the whole growth process. I mean, it took, when did he play with the Rockets? Like 4 years ago? Yeah. 4 or 5 years ago? Yeah. And so, like I said, it's not overnight. It's baby steps, but eventually you get to that point, you know? So I think like sometimes when Forex trading, a lot of Forex traders these days are late teens that want to get into it, early 20s, right? Sometimes they don't necessarily know what they have the ability in front of them. And you see some of them go the right way where they make a business out of it. They save the money. They make, capital upon capital. When you have, multiple different streams of income, then you can never go broke.
Yeah.
Right? But then you see some people that go to the left side and they're like, oh, I'm buying 5 different cars. I'm buying a home. I'm turning up in the club, right? Those are the ones that are going to be set back a couple years.
Yeah.
So anybody that's listening to this, if you're young and wanting to get into Forex, you have a great opportunity in front of you, I think. And it's something that I kind of wish that I could hop in my DeLorean, shout out Back to the Future, and, go back and say, you know what, this is something that I would love to do, get into it, and I could be personally in a different place than I'm in right now. But I take what I have. I'm thankful for what I have. I'm appreciative and proud of the time that I took to get here.
Yeah.
So it's just is kind of an interesting process overall,
Yeah, definitely agree. Like, it's just there are those kind of two different kind of growths. The people that pursue the lifestyle, the people that just are too young, and it's gonna take them a while for them to really understand that this is not something that you want to play around with. This is life changing for the fact that you don't need any requirements. It just requires you to sacrifice a lot of time, or depending on how much time you put into it, and you can see growth and changes to your lifestyle. So, and it definitely changed my lifestyle, but it changed my lifestyle for the better. Like I always looked at this as long term, and I admire the growth from being nobody to being somebody within myself. Not doing it for the public eye, or if I'm influencing someone or I can relate to someone. This is just a challenge that it was within myself. Like how far could I take this? As a vehicle. Never as my main source of income. Like when I bump into people and they're like, oh, so what do you do? And I'm like, yeah, I'm a Forex trader. And they're like, is that your only source of income? And I'm like, no.
Right.
I don't want this to only be my source of income, because, and then it kind of relates back to, people working a 9 to 5. When people are like, oh yeah, is this your only job? Like, people might say it's just, my first 2 or 3 jobs. I want to have multiple hustles that, everything becomes automated, since we're heading into, to the digital era. So, and it's just growing to have more options on the table. So, and then you have more options, life becomes so much more simpler than what people think it should be.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a start to a finish in it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily have to be a finish. The finish can be that last chapter that you write that's like, I've done all of this. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I started from here and I got to here. And that journey along the way is what's supposed to be fun. It could be it's supposed to be challenging.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to be easy.
Yeah.
But by being able to look back on that and say that you're proud of it and that you are a different person, then it's working. And it can be the emotional and spiritual side like we're talking about, but even within like your first year, even 6 months or so, whatever it may be, you can start using correct risk management on a small lot size. Like if we're actually talking about growing an account now, like you can go 0.01s and I'm going to do 10 trades at this, right? Or then I'm going to do 0.02s the next week. Then I'm going to do 0.03s or whatever it may be, right? So at that point, you're growing your account every single day. Yeah, granted, you're going to miss a couple of trades, but as long as you're profiting on more than you're losing, at the end of the day, you're still in profit. So that growth process is interesting. Some people like to dive directly into it and it's like, hey, I'm going to take my first trade and I'm putting a standard on it. Yeah, not a good idea.
Yeah, so
take those steps. Grow
honestly,
mentally.
honestly, when it was like my first year trading, like I was scared dropping a standard. Like just seeing like the return, catching like 50 to 100 pips, and it's just like, man, you could really have a good ROI, on your account. But it's funny, like you start out small and you grow from it, and then you beginning to have that confidence, and then it's just like, wow, like when you applied all this the right way, it becomes such a smooth transition. So, and it becomes fun.
Yeah, and like when you were talking about how you would, you know, stick in your room, stay with the chart, stay this, that, and the other, and you learn to, you know, become who you really are.
Yeah.
Then you start understanding people around you even more too. You can see them in a different light, you know, and you can say, okay, these are the people that I want to keep in my circle, and these are the people that may not be doing me good.
Yeah.
You know, you can see a lot of things from a 30,000-foot view. You know, so I don't know. Like I said, I think that there's a lot of aspects within. It's kind of funny. It all points back to where I can say thank you 4X for it.
Yeah.
You know, but all these different things that come across, and it's like 4X did this for me. So if there were ever a day I decided, oh well, I'm hanging up my trading hat, I'm not going to pay TradingView anymore, whatever it is, right? And I'm just done. At least I can say I'm a better person for everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, it's not for everyone, but it's there for everyone.
Yeah.
You know, and seeing the growth, you know, it could change you as a whole as a person. And at the end of the day, you know, you want to keep that level of mindset high, as high as possible. And that's what you want to leave it up to. And once you're there, no one could touch you.
Right.
You know, it's just yourself and your reflection against the world.
Well, and I've seen your goal board. Those are goals that you set personally.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, oh, this trader that I know did this, so I'm going to do the same thing. No, like you'll have multiple different goals on there. 200 to 2K, 2K to 50K, you know, 50 or well, what was one of them? You had 20K to 200K in a week one time. I was like, damn, like you're setting for those stars, and you're gonna reach those, reach them at some point. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of time before it actually happens. But those goals are all in your own mind. You set those. You know, once you reach them, that's an accomplishment, a major accomplishment either way. You know, so having that mentality portion of I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this to better myself. I'm doing this, and there's going to be people that are going to benefit from it that I decide to benefit from it. Then that's, to me, that's called focus. You know, you're definitely focused. You have a great clear lens, and you have, you know, the whole road ahead of you.
Yes, major components to have. Because not a lot of people could really have the drive and focus, not getting distracted, you know, and remaining disciplined through that process of growth. So, and that plays a very, very key role. Discipline. And I know there were many times when I would probably have to yell and be like, look, like this is what I'm serious about, and I cannot be distracted. So you taking away all my time, it's what I could have been applying to better myself, because I'm very serious about this, that, you know, I already talked to existence that one day this is going to change my life. I just don't know what day, when, but it's going to. So,
well, and you learn to pick and choose what's most important to you as far as, you know, do you change, like you said, going out at night, going out on the weekends or whatever. You stay locked in a room and you practice for the following week, right? So it kind of allows you to see what's really important, decide what's really important, and if there is something that you're like, well, you know what, I just took an hour out of my time and I wasted my time. The most expensive thing in the world is time. You know, you can never get that back. So
it's a major fact.
If you're gonna waste an hour, make sure that you're gonna waste that hour and never do that again that same way. You know, turn around and dedicate that to another hour on TradingView. Or just watching charts. I say, like, even now, like if there's trades that I'm looking at or just certain setups, like, and I just catch something on TradingView or not TradingView, MT4, I might go and just throw something in on the demo real quick just to see, okay, well, if I can recognize this real quick and I can see this, let me get into this real quick and just see how it works. But I don't want to risk my own money, you know? And because if it hits stop loss, well, I know that there's something that I missed on that, and I go back and look at it, right? So, 8 months ago, I'd have been the first one that's like, oh, I'm throwing a mini lot size on that. I don't care.
Yeah.
Boom. Not anymore.
Yeah.
Not anymore. So it kind of it's a trickle effect. When you have that growth, you have that patience, then it leads to discipline, then it leads to responsibility, it leads to accountability. So the whole thing is like getting a huge package all in one of making you who you are. I kind of feel like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's I don't know, it's kind of weird. I look at this a little differently than I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, it's very deep thinking into this. So like I said, it's just not for like the people that are looking to have a quick lifestyle change. You know, this is something that's very, very long term, and well, just depends on how much time you're putting into it. If you're really valuing the time that you're putting into this, then it could be, you know, a very quick, you know, turn of events to your lifestyle. So this all really depends on how you're taking this. So like, you know, anyone that could start at the same time, and you have that one person that's, you know, not taking it seriously, you know, and that's just doing it for all the clout, just doing it because like they found a way to make an income, rather from a person that's disciplined, not being distracted, you know, laser focused and documenting his change, his growth. How is he acting around people that, you know, I wouldn't like to say like very average minded people, but the fact is that, you know, changing your circle and surrounding yourself with people that have the same mindset that you have the same determination, the discipline, the focus, and to getting to your goals. And there's not a lot of people that's like that. So that really causes you to be, you know, in an isolated situation that I really need to do this within myself and prove, not to like the world, because a lot of people feel like they got to prove to people that I'm this guy, like I'm this and that. Mm-hmm. You know, you got to prove within yourself that you could grow from people's past habits, so then you could reach the success that you want to reach.
Well, and I can kind of feel like you can tell from the outside,
yeah,
who is who, because the ones that have gone through it, the ones that have learned, and the ones that are at a peak, mm-hmm. they're the ones that are going to be like, hey, let me help the next person.
Yeah.
Right?
You're passing it forward.
Exactly, right? Where the ones that haven't grown may not have put the time in. Mm-hmm. They're just, like you said, doing it for clout.
Yeah.
And whatever it may be, they're the ones that are out there trying to just spend everything that they earn in mm-hmm. a day or two, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, can you help me? Can you put me onto this? Oh yeah, I'll do this right now. And then you never hear from them ever again, mm-hmm. right? Because they're self-centered.
Yeah.
Those grown, what I would say the grown folks that are within it, they're always willing to pass that wisdom down, mm-hmm. take time with you as long as you're taking it seriously, mm-hmm. and, you know, reward themselves by seeing, well, I went through this and I was able to help somebody else do it.
Yeah.
You know? So I kind of take that for myself. Like, I kind of think of our situation, mm-hmm. right? You've taken me under your wing since day one, mm-hmm. right? And I've grown fairly, you know, a fair amount.
Yeah.
You know, from where I first started. But if you hadn't seen that in me, you would have never taken that time. Mm-hmm. You know? Because, I mean, there've been other traders, hey, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And they've come and gone.
Yeah.
They've come and gone. But there's something that you see within myself that's like, hey, he's got a different drive. He works differently. He moves differently. Mm-hmm. You know, so you can recognize that in individuals. And I think that's kind of a good thing because you can sense who's around you and you can read those people a lot better, you know. So, I don't know. It's weird.
No, it's not weird. Like, it's, you know.
It's kind of mind-blowing overall.
Yeah, hit the nail on the coffin on it. Like, it's just, you know, there's, I like to say, like, you know, some people have it, some people don't. You know, some people understand it at that current time. Some people are gonna, you know, it's going to take them a while. Like, you know, they're going to have to go through a whole process, you know, and finally realize that and reflect, like, man, if I acted a little bit differently, I could have adjusted, you know, I could have fixed what I did wrong, and then it could have headed me to a better direction than I'm currently at now. Mm-hmm. So it's always the little things, you know, like how you receive feedback, how you take criticism, like how you're taking compliments or seeing motivations. Those little ticks, it's just gonna further you for an explosion of what you want. And that becomes a very, very, very key component. It's how you handle the situation that's actually happening. So
yeah, and I think life gives us a lot of things. Like I could tell you for those that do know me, like you guys know what I've gone through for the past 2 days. Life hands you tests every day to grow from, right? Yeah. Where the Forex market, when it hands you that drawdown, that's handing you something to learn from regardless. Yeah. So I kind of correlate the two. I feel like even after the past couple of days, I have a different appreciation for things. Time being in the office, I was taken away from the office for 2 days. I was taken away from looking at charts for 2 days. I was worried about, things that were going on that were happening, and I'm like, how am I going to deal with this? How am I going to deal with this? Well, I accomplished it. I got through it. I'm here tonight, right? So it kind of just goes full circle in that sense. Like, I can kind of correlate it all together, Should take a trade, you go in drawdown. That's testing. You're in 5 trades that are in drawdown, and you're like, oh my gosh, I could be margining out, right? Yeah. Well, you're going to learn tomorrow. You're probably not going to want to over leverage, or you're not going to want to do 5 trades, do 3 trades, something like that. So I don't know. It's all lessons to be learned, and those lessons teach you how to become a better person, a better trader, and a better individual.
I agree completely. I know we probably touched the basics of growth of this episode, so I feel like we're really gonna have to have a good topic for episode 4.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna end this up on episode 3 on talking about growth of trading. So then episode 4 should be really spicy. So
I think that if anybody's
not laugh too, so he was ready.
If anything's going to be taken away from this, anybody that's listening to it, I guess the moral of the whole story, the moral of the whole conversation here is: what type of person do you want to be?
Yeah.
Do you want to be a responsible person, or do you want to be that one that's just out there burning through everything, not caring about life? Appreciate what you have around you. Appreciate the opportunity you have in front of you, and take it for what it is and grow from it.
And there you have it. Boom. Once again, Michael going real deep with this. The man could talk. Derek is just like,
all day.
I'm ready to wrap this up.
Derek's like, shut up.
Call it a day. But so stay tuned for you guys that's on the live, that's been overhearing this. Just episode 4, we're going to turn it up a little bit and give some more value for you guys. So
yeah, I agree.
All right, and we are out of here.